Welcome to Basic Brewing Video. I'm James Spencer.
I'm Steve Wilkes.
On a recent episode of our audio podcast, Basic Brewing Radio, I interviewed a home brewer on how to make crystal malt at home. And so I tried it myself. Hey everybody, welcome to the past. Here we're going to try to make some crystal malt today. We're going to be following the instructions that home brewer Philip McDaniel gave us on the recent episode of Basic Brewing Radio. Now, I'm sure there are other ways to do it. This works because Philip's product was really delicious, so I'm just going to follow his directions and see where they take us. Now, what we have here is 1 pound or 450 grams of Vienna malt. And it's one of the most interesting things that I can think of about malting your own crystal malt at home, or making your own crystal malt at home, is you can make it out of different base grains. You can just use plain old American two-row, or you can use more interesting base grains. So we're going to use a pound of Vienna malt. And what I've got here is a pan with 1 quart, or about a liter, of water at around 165 degrees Fahrenheit, or 74 C, because I want to hit a mash temperature, essentially, of around 150 degrees Fahrenheit, or 65 C. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this uncrushed Vienna malt. And it's uncrushed because, it's important, because what we don't want is to make a wort, which is what you would do if you had crushed base grain. We want to have the whole grain soak up the water that's in this pan, and at the same time have the enzymes inside those kernels convert the starches that are inside the kernel into sugar. So hopefully we can, at the end of this product, or at the end of this process, have a product that is essentially little kernels of converted sugar. So here we go. We have our pan. We have our grain in there, and let's see how close we came. Ooh, pretty good. We're right at 147. It's a little low for me. I'm going to actually turn on the fire and bring that up a little bit. It shouldn't take very long. What I've also done at the same time is I've preheated my oven to my target mash temperature, 150 degrees Fahrenheit, so that I can keep the small volume of water and grain at my target temperature for the anticipated period of time. Oop, and I told you it wouldn't take long. There we are. We're at 150 degrees Fahrenheit, or 65 C. What I'm going to do is just put a lid on it, literally. Put a lid on it and stick this pan in the oven where it will sit and rest for 50 minutes. That's 10 minutes short of an hour. So we'll be back after that. All right, welcome back. It's been 50 minutes, and the grain in the water has swelled up quite a bit. The malt has swelled up, and it's sweeter. So some conversion has happened, which is what we want. Now, the reason that we put it in there for 50 minutes is because that's what Philip recommends. But that's the oven telling me that it's warmed up. So 50 minutes is what Philip recommends, because the longer you have the grain or the malt in the water, the more of the good stuff is going to leach out. So you want to make sure that you can keep the good stuff inside the grain as much as possible. So what we're going to do is separate the grain from the water. And what I have here is a mesh colander that you've seen on the show before. And we're just trying to get out as much of this water as we can initially. Now, what I want to do next, get my props in order here. So I've got this dish I don't know what the official name is for it, but in the podcast, Philip recommends using a roasting pan. That's what he uses. This is what I've got. So I'm taking this 1 pound, formerly 1 pound of Vienna malt, now that it's all warm and soaky. And I should put it in there. I'm going to spread it out. And this is about maybe 3/4 of an inch deep now. So I'm interested to see how much water the grain took up. Now we started with 1 quart of water. Oh, it's less than I thought. It looks like the water or the malt absorbed about only half a cup of liquid. Now you can see that what we've got here is a wort. And if you wanted to make a starter from that, you could. Let's see what our gravity is on our wort. Sweet. We got, 1, 2, 3 bricks, which would be about 10, 12. So it's not a tremendous amount of sugar in there, but there is some sugar. And like I say, you could heat that up for, you could boil that for 15 minutes and use that as a starter liquid. Okay, so now the grain has taken up that 1 cup, or what did I say, half a cup of liquid. We got to get it back out. So what I've done is I've heated my oven to 180 degrees Fahrenheit or 82 C. I'm going to put the grain uncovered because we want all that water to come out. Put the grain uncovered in the oven, and we're going to stir that for every 20 minutes or so to make sure that the moisture gets out. And at this point, we just kind of play it by ear because we're drying out this malt now. And I'll bet that there's still some conversion still happening inside those kernels with the enzymes, converting those starches into sugar, because it's going to take a while for the malt to get up to the temperature where those enzymes are denatured. So anyway, this is the first time I've done anything like this, so I'm going to play it by ear, and I'll check back with you here shortly. Okay, it's been about 2 hours and 15 minutes or so. The first hour, the malt was in there at 180 degrees Fahrenheit or 82 C, and I stirred every 20 minutes or so. But then I bumped it up after that first hour to 200 degrees Fahrenheit or 93 C, and I kept it in there for an hour and 15 minutes or so longer, again stirring about every 15-20 minutes. And I won't say that it's bone dry. It's still a bit damp, but I'm not a very patient man. And, and I think it'll dry out in this next phase. I want to say it's very tasty. And it definitely got sweeter in that first hour. So I think the enzymes were still active in changing those starches into sugar even more. So now what we're going to do, theoretically, if this were dry, it would be crystal malt. It would just be a very lightly colored crystal malt. But I want some color and some flavor in the malt. So what I'm going to do, as the dog passes by, I have boosted up my oven to 250 degrees Fahrenheit or 121 degrees Celsius. And I'm going to stick this back in there and stir it more frequently because I don't want it to burn. And we'll see if we can get some color and added flavor into this. And away we go. Okay, the malt has been in the oven at 250 degrees Fahrenheit for an hour, and it is now considerably drier, and there's less steam when I open up the oven door. And I can tell that the flavors are developing the way I want them to. So I think I'm going to take it out here in just another few minutes. Okay, so here we are, about an hour and 5 or 10 minutes after I put the malt back in there at 250 degrees Fahrenheit or 121 C. And it's interesting because the drier that the malt gets, the more quickly things happen. I could tell that as it was getting drier, the color was changing a bit and the flavors were getting more sort of dark. I've stopped it right now, and when you taste it, it tastes a bit like raisins, just a little bit. I didn't want to get too much into that territory because I've got 9 more pounds of Vienna that I want to use this with to make a pretty light colored ale. So I think I'm pretty happy. I've got it on this cookie sheet to cool, and I think that the process would have happened more quickly had I found a bigger pan or a bigger container to put my grain in, although that was pretty easy to stir in, that deep container. And your oven temperatures may vary, so the time that each step may vary, so there's a bit of art to it as well as science. I'll be interested to see what color this comes out to be when I add it to the beer. So, back to the future. All right, so that's my attempt at making crystal malt, and we have the results here. Here we have Vienna malt.
This is the store-bought Vienna malt.
Unadulterated, yes, store-bought Vienna malt, and I steeped an ounce of it in some hot water. And then here is my crystal malt. It looks a couple shades darker than that, and then you can tell that it's a teeny bit darker. I didn't want to go very, very dark because I didn't want the beer to be very dark. So let's try. You can try a bit of this and try a bit of that.
Okay.
Now this is more, chew carefully on this because it's a little more kind of tough.
This reminds me of my fiber regimen.
Yeah, we can each drink this, and then we can skip our Metamucil later.
That's right. Oh, made a big difference.
The Vienna is toasty, kind of bready and toasty. What do you think about the crystal?
I think it's great. I mean, it's definitely sweeter. Yeah, so that's pretty amazing. It's pretty good too.
It's a teeny bit raisiny, just a little teeny tiny bit.
Yeah,
but it is sweeter.
Raisin bran.
Now, I made a beer with it. I had 9 pounds of Vienna malt and 6 ounces of the homemade crystal. And then I put 1.5 ounces of Czech sauce at 60 minutes and then half an ounce at flame out. And then you used USO5.
If only there were some of it handy.
Now let's see if I can. I figured out why we get so big foamy heads on our first pours here. The tube is warmer. I usually keep the whole thing in the kegerator.
Yeah.
But since the tube is warmer, it wants to foam more.
How'd you figure that out?
There's a show called Basic Brewing Radio. There you go. How's that?
If only there were a show that could explain these things.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's more than beautiful.
Cheers.
It's lovely. It's delightful. Wow.
That is a tasty beer. It reminds me of a Pilsner.
Yeah, it does.
Or my cream ale. And I didn't do obviously a Vienna only without the crystal to compare the difference in the color. But man, that's a tasty beer.
It's very good. It reminds me quite a bit of Pilsner Urquell.
Ooh.
I mean, it just got that same, maybe it's the sauce and it's the simplicity of the beer, I'm not sure.
Right.
But
I'll take that as a compliment.
yeah, it definitely matters one too.
Now, is this the way that professional maltsters make crystal malt?
I'm going to say no.
No. No, it's not. Because they do all the roasting or the bringing up to temperature and converting while the malt is still wet.
Right.
When we get the malt, it's dry. So this is not the way professionals do it. But it is very similar. This method, Philip's method, is very similar to the method in Radical Brewing by Randy Mosher. The only difference, or one of the differences, is that Randy says to steep the malt overnight in room temperature water and then go through the roasting and such. So this in a way is quicker. And I think next time I want to go darker to see what results that I can get. But Philip sent us some samples that I made some test beers out of that, and he went way dark with one of his samples.
Yeah, he did.
And those made some really tasty beers, and his product was really tasty as well. So,
Well, this is a great exercise, and play with your malt. It's fun, and it made a great beer.
thank you, sir.
Cheers.
Cheers. Try it at home. We'll see you next time. Happy brewing.
What do you say?
Come and visit us on the web at basicbrewing.com. You can find archive lists of both our audio and video podcasts on home brewing. You can also find our DVDs, Extract Brewing and Partial Mashing, Stepping into All Grain, Low-Tech Lagering and Decoction Mashing, Introduction to Wine Kits, and our Basic Brewing Brewer's Logbook, where you can track and log up to 50 batches of beer. Drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. Write to James at basicbrewing.com, Steve at basicbrewing.com, or just use the contact form on basicbrewing.com.
Boy, that was quick.
Okay, that's what she said.